All right, welcome to our second webinar of EdTechify Your Teaching with Chrome Extensions. Today we are going to have the webinar version that you will be able to watch at your own time and at your own place, and then go back and revisit some of those things that are talked about. At the end of this webinar, there will be a short little question quiz that probably will be either that or embedded with an Edpuzzle for you to receive your 1 hour of credit. So each month we are going to do a different session, and these sessions will be held at the middle school EdTech room, which is formerly the VLA room, and that is where I'm coming from today. So here we are. It's EdTechify Your Teaching, Chrome Extensions. These will be sent out, and these are interactive handouts, and I'm making these posters through a website called Canva. And you can also do this where you can add links in. So you can see I can actually click on the web store and it will take me there. And I can actually click on our collaborative extension list that we would love for our staff to add to. So here we go. Chrome extensions. I created this presentation in a site called Buncee, and Buncee allows you to add audio into it as well as animated GIFs and other information. So I'm going to play some of the audio that goes along with this so you can see how it works, and then we'll walk through what we're going to do today. So Google Chrome extensions. Google Chrome extensions. All right, so here we go. There's my animated GIF, and our goals for this session today are to learn what extensions are and how they can be helpful for you and your students. We want to be able to share and explain briefly extensions that you may be using or could be using in your classroom. And our goal at some point is to all get together and collaborate on ways that extensions could be used by our students or within our teaching. So some of you might wonder what in the world are Chrome extensions. Up here at the top next to your address bar, you're going to see all these little icons, and I'll show you a way that you can kind of turn on and off some of those so that way it doesn't slow down your web browser. I found that when you start to get 20 or 30 extensions, it's making your Chrome browser run pretty slow. So you probably want to turn those off because it's using up the memory. Extension really is just something that's going to enhance the user experience while they're on the Chrome web browser. And once again, make sure that when you are using Chrome that your name is up here, that you are actually signed in, and that way you get the full version of us pushing apps and extensions out to you, as well as you being able to access your extensions anytime you sign in to a different computer or a Chromebook using the Chrome browser. So here, there's a link to the actual web store where you're going to be able to find those Chrome extensions. So I'm going to click on that. The Chrome web store can also be found right under your apps here. So I could also click here on the apps button and go to the web store from that way as well. And then once I'm in there, you can see you've got extensions, themes, apps, games, and I can sort it by different ways if I want. I can also just scroll down here. It says new and updated extensions. There are always new things popping up, as you know. And there's always 20 different ways that you can do the same task. So you just have to figure out what's going to work best for you. All right, to get started with this session, wanted to do a little collaboration activity, but since you're watching the webinar version, you may not be able to fully interact with this. So my hope was that we could scan this QR code and that it would take you directly to a site called Mentimeter. And you could have your students do this in the classroom as well. You could poll a question and either have them scan the QR code with a device, such as their Chromebook or the iPads or their own device. And then what they would see is something like this. So here's Mentimeter, and it says on here, what is your favorite extension? And so in here, I might put in there my favorite extension right now is the goo.gl URL shortener. Instead of getting these giant website links to share in emails, I try to shorten them a lot with this. Then after I type in my response, I'm going to say submit. And it says, thank you for your input. I could have multiple questions as a teacher. So now I'm going to go into the teacher view. And what will happen is you can give your students a code too if you don't want to use the QR code to join this. This is my teacher view, and I can set up how I want to share this. I could do a countdown and tell my students you have 3 minutes to do your voting, and then it will close. I can change the layout. Right now it's in word cloud. I can put it in speech bubbles. So it will look like that. So I see Extensify as an extension, and the goo.gl URL shortener I just put in. I can change it to 1 by 1. So I just see kind of like a flashcard of each one that I put on there. And I could also do a flowing grid, which kind of is going to keep them all together. A neat visual to get an idea of what your students know about something before you begin and to start a conversation. So goal was during the session to start a conversation and ask people to share what these extensions are and how they're using them. So that site is called Mentimeter, and within there you can also, if I go back in there, I can set up a new presentation and ask other questions. So really cool. All right, moving on. So we have a collaborative extension list that I did share out with staff. You can scan this QR code that's within this presentation or on this video, or you can go to the website that is listed here and it will take you to our collaborative list. Over to the right, you're going to see our past collaborative list, which is in Padlet. So you can click on this link as well. So I'll take you there. And last month, we did G Suite, which used to be the Google Apps for Education add-ons. So you can see here is a collaborative list for that. If I click here, it's going to take you to all sorts of add-ons for each part of G Suite. So we have for Docs, we've got add-ons for Sheets, we've got add-ons for Forms. And please feel free to add anything that you are using that you want to share on this spreadsheet. It's going to be very helpful. Kind of gives some direction. I know a lot of teachers have been asking about Flubaroo. So here it kind of just gives you a brief description of what Flubaroo is and also a link that will allow you to watch how it works. So you'll notice that when I go on a link, it's going to pop up a little button up here so that way I can actually click on that link to visit it. So that is how that will work. I'm going to go back to here. Now we're talking about Chrome extensions this month. So once again, you'll click here, or you could click on that link that I had back here as well. And the Chrome extensions are going to be listed right now alphabetically. Not all of them have a link to a video to watch to see what it is. So kind of just have to install it and try it out and see how it works on your computer. And if you don't want something ever, you can always right click on any extension and say remove from Chrome. So that is always an option too if you decide that's not what I was looking for. So here is a huge list. Today I'm just going to cover my top 10 favorites, and they may become your favorites, or you may find something else that you think has been really helpful in your teaching. All right, so there is our collaborative list. I'm going to go back to our presentation. Online, if you want to check out a database and click on this link, this shakeuplearning.com website, this author of the site has a lot of great tools, a lot of new information about the latest technology out there. So if you want to follow this Shake Up Learning site, you can. But if I scroll down here, it will let me find out what I want to look for. So down here I can see some that people have added as some of their top favorites. If I want to look for a specific extension, I can click extension. I can go to what kind of category am I looking for. So maybe I'm looking for let's say screenshots. No, let's do screencast. So screencast is just what I'm doing actually right now. I'm recording, so that way I can put it on the web and I can add questions to it later in Edpuzzle and have everyone be able to watch this webinar. I can also then sort by subject if I want to. So I'm actually not going to put that in there. And you can see it already brought up an extension for me that I already have installed. It's called Screencastify, very similar to CaptureCast, which is what I'm using right now. The difference between the two, CaptureCast right now is letting me record unlimited amount of time. Screencastify has a time limit of about 20 minutes, I believe. So if you're recording anything longer than 20 minutes, you may want to try out CaptureCast. So those are all our different collaborative lists that you can check out if you're looking for something in particular. Check out this page. Okay, so as I mentioned before, make sure you are signed into your Chrome browser to add and receive pushed out extensions. So up here where it says my name, make sure that you're signed into your Genoa Schools account. And that way when you sign in and click link data, it's going to push these extensions out. Now that doesn't mean you can't add your own. You can always go into the Chrome Web Store, which I was showing here. And if I want to look for something, okay, so if I search something here, it tells me I was looking for Chrome Remote Desktop. So I want to be able to manage students' Chromebooks from wherever I am. So I can check out and see what some of these are as well, and then add those onto my Chrome browser. So I'll show you how to do that in just a moment here. So how we're going to do it. Well, I was in the Chrome Web Store, step 1. Step 2, I'm going to search by a keyword. So I typed in Chrome Remote Desktop. Then once I find an extension I think is going to be helpful, I'm going to add it to Chrome. So let me go back into here. And I'm going to check out this first one. And it gives me a little bit of information over here of what it is going to be used for. And I can scroll down and read more about it. And if it's something I want to try out and see how it works, I'm going to click Add to Chrome. So once I do that, it's going to pop up as a little icon on my toolbar up here. And if you have more extensions like I do, I'm going to show you one that will allow you to turn these off so you don't have them taking up your whole web browser there. So let me go back to our presentation. So it's pretty easy to add extensions. You just have to find what works. Okay, so here's some visuals to show you. This is a Chrome browser with no extension. So you see the URL or the address bar here. And you see they've changed the hamburger icon though from here now to 3 dots, which I call the 3 hot dogs. Some people call them, the 3 pancakes, whatever you want to call it, so the kids know. But this has no extensions. And then this one down here, or if you even look at mine, there are a ton of different little icons next to the URL or address bar. So that's how I know where the extensions are. Okay, how are you going to manage your extensions? Like I said, you can turn them off and on with something, but I'll show you different places where you can access them. So if I go to those 3 little dots or hot dogs, and I go down to more tools, as this image is showing me, and I go over to extensions, it's going to open up a little window for me. And right now it's telling me that I have all these extensions, but you can see some of them are checked, enabled, and some of them are not enabled. They're not turned on right now because I had shut them off, so that way my browser would run a little bit better. So you can always go into here and either delete an extension, or you can go in and checkbox and turn them on from those 3 little dots. So that's how we got there. Okay. Oh yeah, here we go. So now we're going to move on to my top 10 Chrome extensions. Like I said, we'll see what you think about these, and if they can be helpful to you, great. So starting with number 10, this extension is called Turn Off the Lights. So what it does is if you're sharing a video with your students on YouTube, or they're creating videos in YouTube and you want to get rid of all those extra, like what comes up next, and sometimes they're appropriate and sometimes they're not appropriate, you can use this extension called Turn Off the Lights. It's a little light bulb here, and it will allow you to gray out or black out. You can change the settings on it. So I'm going to show you when you put this extension on, if you right click on any extension, sometimes there are options. So I'm going to go under the options of this extension. And right now you can see, I can kind of see through that, and I can change this opacity of it, and I can make it like all black. So I don't see any of this other stuff that's coming up behind there. It's a great way to keep the students focused instead of them worrying about videos that are popping up over here next. So that's one of the basic things I can do. I can do visual effects to things. It gives me advanced options. The other part of this one I like is the night mode. So some students may have visual impairments that it makes it easier for them to see text on with a black background and then white text on top of it. This allows them to switch back and forth between those two. So I'm going to say show the night switch below on this. And now if I turn that off, should be able to, if I go to a web page out here and reload it, there it is. So down at the bottom here, I have my night switch. So if I turn that to night, you notice it made my background black and changed the text to white. The only thing that's a little bit tricky here is you couldn't see that text box there. I knew it was there, so I clicked, but it's a very easy way to turn it off and on, so it might help those students focus a little bit better. So that is called Turn Off the Lights. There's a video here too, so if you want to see how it will work. All of these extensions that I'm showing you are also listed within this extension spreadsheet that we would love to have you add to. So check those out from there too. Okay, number 9 is called the goo.gl URL shortener, which is the one I had put as my favorite. It allows you to create shortened URLs for websites or links, but it also lets you create a QR code for a specific website or link. So the video will show you how to do that, or I will show you that right here. So let's say I want to create a shortened URL for this Mentimeter. So I'm on the site. I go to my URL shortener here. I'm going to click on it one time. It's going to say it's shortening it. So instead of being menti.com / that number, it's going to be just this goo.gl / and then it gives me the letters, combination of letters here. I can copy that link and then just paste it wherever I want to. So example, in this presentation, I had pasted one back farther there. I can also, if I want to, create a QR code for this website. So here's the QR code. Right click on it. You can copy the image, and then I can paste that image into a document or a slide, or I made it as an image in my Bunsey presentation. So you kind of can have different options of how to get kids to a place quickly or how to get adults to a website quickly from there. So that is called the URL shortener goo.gl. All right, number 8, moving on. It's called Open Side by Side. So sometimes we have students, I witnessed the other day a class that was taking a quiz in Google Forms, and the teacher had also recorded himself reading the quiz questions to the students using an app called Twisted Wave. And so what the students were doing is they had the audio over here on the right, so they could click it to play it and pause it as they go. And on the left, they had the Google form. So instead of them opening 2 windows, resizing and dragging, there's a fast way to do this. So I have my extension here, my Open Side by Side. Now you notice when I click on it, nothing happens. So what you actually have to do is right click on the link, or on the page, and it should actually load up for you. It should say open with side by side here. And I'm going to see if it's going to work on this one here. May not, because I just pushed it out. So I'll show you how it looks here. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the Alice Keeler Open Side by Side extension. extension. So whatever window you have open or website you're on, you're then going to right-click anywhere on that website and go to, and there it is. It says Open Side by Side. It will automatically move that website that you right-clicked on to the right side of your screen. Here it is. And you can go about having other things on the left side of your screen. So it splits it automatically, and that is Open Side by Side. So that is how that will work. So it's pretty easy to use, allows the kids to quickly get things split on their screen. Also you, if you are grading tests or you want to be viewing their student work on one side and then viewing your classroom on the other, however that will work for you. Okay, moving on to number 7, Google Hangouts. And number 7 here, Google Hangouts is something that we are using right now at the high school with students and staff there to communicate. So instead of students being called down to the office, they will get a little pop-up, a Google Hangout icon that will tell them what the message is. Think back to AOL Instant Messenger, think to iMessenger or any like a text message. It allows you to talk back and forth between people within our Genoa schools. Nice thing about it, has a mobile app, so you can put it on your phone or device. You'll have it, of course, on your desktop computer or on your Chromebook. Staff has the capability to do video hangouts, so that means we can video chat with each other. We just did a meeting last week where we video chatted with 2 other people. So you can have up to, I believe, 25 people on a Google Hangout at one time that can all be collaborating and talking about education. You can be sharing ideas. You can be doing tech help to show someone what you're seeing on your screen. So there's a lot of different ways that it can be used. So I'm going to show you how it works. So if I click on my Hangouts button here, it's going to open it up. You can see I've got some conversations that I've had going on here. But if I want to start a new conversation, I click New Conversation, and then I type in who I want to talk to. And then I can go from there, type in what I want to say. I can send an emoji, I can send an image, I can draw something, or I can do video call up here, so that will start a video call as well. So I can also archive conversations. I've noticed on my phone it starts to get quite lengthy, so you can always archive a conversation. And just so you know that you can, because this is within our Genoa schools, these things are, of course, can be monitored as well. So we just want to make sure, especially with the students, not so much staff at all, but the students know that at the high school that their conversations can be monitored. And so we kind of know what they're chatting about if we need to. Not that we're going to, but that we need to. So that is Google Hangouts. Great way to collaborate instead of using your own text messaging or your mobile minutes. Okay, we're moving on to number 6, which is Google Keep. Google Keep is a great place to keep track of what you need to do and when, and to share your notes with other people. So I'm going to show you what this looks like. So I use Google Keep a lot to kind of bookmark things I read on the internet or ideas I find. So I can always go back to them at a later point and say, oh, what was that idea, or where did I find that? And I can find it quickly. So it allows you to do these to-do lists. You can also save these things that you are kind of bookmarking or sticky noting to a Google Doc. So if you want to make something that you can go back to in your drive, you can do it that way. It has an app, like I said, so you can sync it across your mobile device, your Chromebook or laptop, and your desktop computer. So I'm going to open up my Google Keep, and the site is just keep.google.com. Show you kind of what mine looks like here. So you can add labels off to the side so that way you can sort by labels. I can archive a list if I need to, or a note. I can set a reminder that is going to go off at a certain point. So if I need to remember to get that milk from the grocery store at 3:30 today, I can set myself a little reminder. I can search my notes. So if I want to look for things that that have to do with music, I can find, oh, I've bookmarked these kind of things that I want to share with teachers. And here's those 2 notes. So I'm going to go back to my notes. You can rearrange your things and move them around. You can see at the top I pinned some of these. So pinning moves them up to the top, so that way I know, like, here's my to-do list. Like, I want to make sure I get these done. I can color code them as well. So if I say take a note, and this is my sample note, I can add the reminder. I can type in here, these things I must do. I can add an image if I want to. I can change the color of my note. I can then share my notes with other people. So if I say, hey, check this out, instead of me having to send an email, I can just say share this link to those music teachers and say, here you go. Here is a really cool site that gives you some tools you can use with the Chromebooks for music. So I can just share it directly from Keep instead of having to copy and paste a website and put it in an email. These 3 dots, again, always mean more. I can delete the note then. I can add a label so I can locate it easier. Can make a copy of the note. I can do check boxes. So if I say this is my to-do list, I can actually check off. And you can see, like in this one, I had a huge list and then I had to check things off. And it shows I've completed those items that I needed to do. And then when I'm done, I can click done. I can pin it so it comes up to the top here. You can change your view, just like within Google Drive. So it can be straight down or it can be all over the place. I can set my notifications to go off if I need to. So that is really cool. Now, this isn't the extension. This is actually the website. So let's say I really like this Mentimeter site or Buncee site. Let's say I'm going to do my presentation. So up here I have my Google Keep extension. So if I click on this, it's going to say save to keep. It's going to put the link there, and then I can take a note. So I can give it a title and say EdTechify presentation for October. Right, there we go. And then it's automatically over here saying saving. So I don't have to do anything. Now, if I want to view it in Google Keep, then I click the little square with the arrow on it, and it's going to open it up in Google Keep. So I will see my note is right here. I can go to that link. I can share it with someone. After I say done, it's going to put it down here. Now you're going to say, where is it? It's going to be down here because I did not pin it. So I'll put it up here and refresh, reload. Got to refresh just like in your drive. All right, and should be there. All right, so I'm going to go back to there. So that is Google Keep, and you can see sometimes if I share something with someone, it will have their icon there as well, so I can see what notes I've shared with other people, which is really cool. And this little video will also show you how that is all worked out as well. So moving on with our extensions, we're going to go to number 5, which is Share to Classroom. So this is a great way to get all your students on the same page quickly. Students can also push a web page or a link to a document to their teacher to share or project. So it can work both ways. The cool thing about the extension, though, is if I have students push something to me, it will come up on my computer and ask me if I want to accept it before it projects it in front of the whole class. So you have that. Of course, you can monitor that and be able to choose if you want to share what's coming to you. But this is a great way, especially with elementary students. Say you want to get them to that Socrative quiz. Instead of having them go through Symbaloo and doing all their steps, you can just push it right out to them. So as long as they are signed in and a member of your Google Classroom. So if I go to my Share to Classroom extension, and let's say I pick one of my classes here, one of my Google Classrooms, and I know these students are already a member of this pre-K Tech for Littles site. If I say this link I'm on right now, this Buncee, I want to push it directly to my students, I can actually even from here create an assignment, ask a question on the fly for my students, make an announcement. I want to push this website out. So when I push it to them, I'm going to say push, and on their Chromebooks, it's going to open right up to that website where I want them to be. So it's not me going around the room to 20 different kids and getting them on there or helping them out. I can do it from my computer at once. Down here, you're going to see received from students. That number will come up if 1, 2, 3 students share with you, and then you can see what they have shared with you. I've not had anything, of course. And then you can choose to project that on your screen. Maybe you're sharing student writing samples, and instead of them coming it up or them sharing it with you, they can just be right on their spot here. So if I pretend I'm in Google Drive right now, so I'm in a spreadsheet, which is within Google Drive, and I want to share that with my teacher. Push it right to my teacher so she can see and everyone else can see my writing or my work I'm doing within Google Drive. So it's a nice way to share things quickly with students without the hassle of going around the room and typing it in. So very cool. We're not to the best ones yet, though. Number 4 is called Awesome Screenshot. Awesome Screenshot looks like a camera lens with some pretty rainbow colors in it. It allows you to take a screenshot of your whole screen, of a small selection. And the nice thing you can do is you can blur out sensitive information. So instead of knowing whose paper this is at the top, I can use it as an example, but I can blur out that information of whose it is, or I can put a box over it so it keeps it anonymous. But the cool thing about this, if I click on that extension, Awesome Screenshot, here's my choices. I can capture a visible part of the page. I can capture a selected area. I can do the entire page. You can do a delayed capture, do the whole desktop, and you've got your options. I'm just going to do a selected area. So I press that, and I'm going to say, okay, here is what I want to take a picture of. And then I'm going to say capture. May let me do it. It may not, because I'm actually I'm capturing my screen right now for this recording. So that may or may not work. But what it will let you do then on top of that is you watch through the video and cancel that out. See if I can get out of that. Bring me back in down here now. Let me play the video. It might be a little bit better for us. All right, here we go. Okay, so it's going to show that we do that. And then you get this toolbar up here. So you can put a box around things, you can add text, you can draw an arrow to label something. I can color over or highlight text. So here's all the different things you can do. Done. The nice thing about Awesome Screenshot is it uploads directly to your Google Drive. So students can annotate an image, maybe for science, you want them to be able to label the different plates or what is happening, what kind of landform it is. They can do that, and then from within there, they can annotate and then share that image with you, or they can put it within a document and then type more about what they found out to give their reasoning. So you've got a lot of different options, not just for you, but for students as well. All right, moving on. Number 3, read and write. You've heard me talk about it a lot. I've been sending a ton of emails about it. We want to see how this is going to work for us. We have the trial until November 30th, and then we'll see if we're going to purchase it. Many teachers have been using this, and your read and write toolbar is going to pop up as soon as you click on this purple puzzle piece. Remember, one time to click on turns it on. So you have to wait for it to load, and then to turn it off, you just click it again. So here's that toolbar in more depth. A lot of great things. You have your prediction tool where you can predict. Students can use that to help them with writing within Google Docs. You've got your hover speech. Wherever you put your cursor, it's going to start reading. You've got your dictionary, picture dictionary for younger students, and then of course your play, pause, and stop button. Some teachers have been using the screenshot reader. So if a scanned in copy of a test isn't reading very well, they can zoom in a little bit, and the students use the screenshot reader to read what is on their screen. You have the fact finder. So if you kids want to learn more about what is read and write, they could click on that right now, and it would take them to a new tab for a Google search. You have your screen masking that will allow you to kind of blur out the rest and then just focus on wherever my mouse is moving up and down the page. I've got my highlighter tools. I can collect all those highlights and put them into a Google Doc. I can create a vocabulary list of things that I've highlighted. So if I highlight dictionary, prediction, screenshot, and then collect those, it's going to put them into their own document of the word, the meaning, and then leave an empty space for you to have them either type a sentence or put their own definition. This will simplify the page. So if there's a lot of text there and it's kind of overwhelming for students, they can click that and it should kind of skim it down, so that way they can simplify it into a little bit easier version, and they can simplify it as much as they want or add as they go. And then this new one allows students to practice reading aloud, which is helping build their oral reading fluency. And they can share it directly with their teacher, which is a very cool way to track student progress and collect data. So that's the read and write toolbar. You also, of course, will have it within Google Drive. So when you're in Google Drive and I go to a new doc here, the read and write extension is not going to be up here now. It's actually going to be a little puzzle piece that will pop up right here. So there it is again, and then I can use that as well within Google Docs, which is really great. And same thing, move it up and down. Someone asked me about the settings. You can change the voice, so it doesn't have to be Ava. It can be whoever you want. You can change the speed, and you can change these other settings as well. So that is all within the read and write toolbar that we have the option to use right now. So number 2, this is what I'm using right now to record this webinar. Like I said, CaptureCast will let you record your desktop screen. If you are using a laptop or a Chromebook that has a webcam, you could record yourself doing a flipped lesson, standing in front of the class. If you know you're not going to be there, you could use this to record your lesson. Awesome thing about CaptureCast is it's going to let me, when I'm done, upload my video to either Google Drive, Vimeo, or YouTube. Something that some teachers don't know is that all of us have a YouTube channel. So if I go back under my waffle over here and go to YouTube, we all have our own My Channel, and you have to set it up the first time you do it. And this is where I've set up my tutorial channel, and then here's our sessions that I've been adding as well. I can subscribe to other channels if I want. I can even do live streaming from YouTube. So if I want to do something live, like a student presentation or have a parent present on their job in front of the class, you can do live streaming through YouTube, so that way they can watch in real time, which is really awesome. It's a great way for our students to show what they know. Some examples that teachers have been using is students had to record themselves speaking in Spanish. So the teacher was able to assess what they knew from their recording of how they were doing this. Another teacher was having students demonstrate how to do some cooking or activity. So they had their Chromebook pointing at what exactly they were doing for that activity. So it's a great way like to have students doing hands-on activities where we can then assess how they're doing on there. Now, I mentioned earlier a teacher using Twisted Wave to record himself reading a test. We found that only has a 5-minute limit. So we've used CaptureCast. You can turn it on and off for just audio if you want to. So you could just record your voice and don't see anything else, or you could do your voice and your face, and the students could see you reading it out loud to them if you really want to do that as well. So it gives them that option, which is cool. Okay, there's my CaptureCast right now is recording me, and you can see how long I've been recording, and I can change the different settings there. All right, and the number one, why I like this extension the best, because it's something I use pretty much daily. It is the Save to Drive extension, and you'll see it up here. So anything website content, images, links, media, PDFs, whenever I open something and say, you know what, I need to save that in my drive, I click on that extension and it automatically will put it into my drive, which is so cool. I can also right click on an image. So let's say I want to right click my little Bitmoji that I have here, and you notice that it will say save image to Google Drive. So if that will automatically put it in my drive without me having to download it, upload it, and so on. Sometimes in our email, we get PDFs that are shared with us. Once you open that PDF, you can just click that extension and it's going to say share to drive. If I say save to drive right now from this website, what it's going to do, you can see it turning, it's going to create an image file of this website. So it created a ping image. So it's not the actual link itself, it is going to do an image. So you're probably saying, well, why would you use this? I use it a lot for saving images. I use it a lot for saving PDFs. So that way I don't have to take that extra step, download it, upload it in a drive, and so on. So that is my number one, Save to Drive. Okay, so we've seen a lot, and I've talked a lot about these extensions. So what I challenge you to do is search that Chrome Web Store, see what you could find that could be useful in your classroom. So I know I was looking for something the other day, periodic table. I don't know if there'll be an extension for this. Oh, there is. Extension periodic table of elements. So you might be surprised, like I just was, of what is there. So this is actually a quick extension, and it's a compact and easy to use periodic table of elements. Now, of course, there's apps too. And I didn't get into apps today, and apps will be more involved. Extensions are just quick things that are going to help me with my experience and being able to do things quickly to help save time. So you've got those fun things that you can do on there. All right. So any sharing or questions that you may have, please feel free to ask or leave comments in the Edpuzzle. Your feedback does truly matter. There is a link right here to the evaluation for this webinar. Even if you are watching the webinar at your own time, please, please, please visit this link to this form and let me know what you think, so that way we can change these sessions in the future or keep them the same depending on how you want to do that. And there you go, there's that night mode again. So I will have this form link within my Google Classroom. So if I go here, I'll show you where it is. And we're going to, this recording will also be shared through here. So here is the link to the Bunsey presentation. Here is the evaluation form. Something new I'm adding now is to kind of boost your motivation for this, is you will earn a badge every time you complete one of these online or in-person training sessions. And then what you can do is kind of show off all your badges that you've earned throughout the year, and your time that you've taken to watch this and kind of review and go through it. That will be shared also with Angie Jimerson, so that way she will be able to give you your credit for the amount of time of this webinar. So Please feel free to ask any other questions. And once again, thank you for watching.